This 90s interview where black people were asked their opinion on white people has gone viral because the answers are very different from today.
What do you think of white people?
White people, they straight, you know. They just like me, you know.
Okay.
All white people ain't in the same boat, you know what I'm saying? Because like you, I mean, if you was a prejudiced white man, you wouldn't be standing here talking to us, right?
Sure.
So I don't have anything against you.
Just like me. Just a different color of skin, that's about it.
You find there's a difference in the way you're treated by white people as opposed to black people?
They haven't treated me wrong in no kind of way.
Never?
Never.
Nothing wrong with white people. I love them just like I love the black.
Come on, who said that?
Ladies and gentlemen, back in the day it was a different time. Sometimes we called them idiots, ignorant, or maybe just a person that had a bad day. Now,
that's racist.
because if you sound like this in 2025,
So I was just told that I've turned my back on the black community because of a recent video I did about Jasmine Crockett. I've been waiting on this one. What this is called is selective morality. Let's ignore the fact that ain't no white robes running through our neighborhoods, just black folks terrorizing other black folks. Let's ignore the fact that ain't no white supremacists shooting up our blocks. It's us. Let's ignore the fact that we make music glorifying our own destruction and then cry when the streets match the lyrics.
that's a good one. Yeah, we make the lyrics representing what's happening around us and then we cry when it happens. All the single ladies, I will marry JC while he cheats on me.
We love screaming black unity, but will rob, jump, scam, and kill our own people with no hesitation whatsoever. Preaching we gotta stick together while setting up your own brothers and snaking your own sisters. Love blaming the society for why our neighborhoods look like war zones while cheering for the very culture that keeps them that way. Talking about black pride while rapping about murdering each other, turning women into baby mamas, and making it seem like being broke, violent, and ignorant is a personality trait. Everybody want to scream support black businesses, but will run to Gucci before you ever spend $1 with your own people while looking for a hookup at the same time.
But when I wasn't high and I was working out and I looked good, he's like, nigga, you think you better than me.
I think a lot of black people can relate.
I said, nigga, how is my success a reflection of your failure?
That is not your responsibility. And that is the reason why I believe most people that are black, when they're successful, they don't want to stay in that neighborhood.
We want to whine about gentrification, but won't invest in your own damn community. Instead, trash it, and then cries when somebody else moves in and builds it the fuck up. And then the worst part, y'all expect every black person to fall in line with this bullshit ideology. Because how dare a black person think for themselves, right?
This is something that I've experienced and I've noticed that even black women say it. If they date a black man, the rules they abide by is way more protective for the black culture. But when they date a white man,
it's gone.
That's why a lot of black men with other races, they have a better success rate because you just focus on the love and not the race.
How dare someone not subscribe to this self-inflicted victimhood bullshit? Y'all want unity? Start by looking in the fucking mirror. The truth is, black folks ain't even for black folks. The biggest threat to black people ain't Trump. It ain't the police. It ain't white people. It's us. It's our own self-hatred, our own refusal to hold each other accountable, and our own addiction to playing the goddamn victim while glorifying the very shit that holds us back.
If you don't acknowledge an issue, you can't fix it.
Dang.
And if you find a issue, you want to say, I'm a victim, and you're attacking me, and that gives you power to shut people up, I guess you will never progress. You will stay the same and glorify it and then say, hey man, it's part of my culture. I've heard that so many times. You're part of the culture, yes. And I can be in the culture and say, I don't like that part of my culture. Bengadilo, remember to subscribe.
Who's out here shooting up black neighborhoods? Not Trump. Who's rapping about killing each other, robbing each other, and treating our women like trash? Not Trump. Who's making our own communities unlivable, unsafe, and uninvestable, then crying about it and wondering why they won't build up our neighborhood? Not Trump.
Yeah, people are complaining about food desert. They're closing all the stores. The stores have boards on the outside saying if you park here, don't leave valuable items visible because it's so normal to get robbed. If that is the normal thing and nobody is earning any money and the cops have to come by over and over because you're scaring away the customer, I'm not surprised. Like, there has to be a certain accountability. But if people always say, no, the police hates us, I'm like, okay, man. I'm not surprised. My father just told me, you are not going outside. If you have a baby, I'm going to force you to work because you're going to be responsible because we're not going to do that in that family.
No! No!
I was afraid to have a baby.
Who raised us to fear and hate each other more than any racist system ever could? We did that to ourselves. But nah, let's keep blaming everything on racism, while we kill, rob, and destroy our own at a rate the Klan could only dream of. Let's keep pretending every black person is on the same team when half of y'all wouldn't even piss on another black person if they were on fire. Y'all would film it and yell World Star. Let's keep screaming about oppression while cheering on the destruction of our own community.
Yeah, if somebody opens a store, everybody wants a discount, because if you don't, hey man, you're a traitor and you're reminding me of my failure. Yup! But then I'm like, are you supposed to pay the right price so the store can survive, so later he can give you a discount so they can also survive?
Y'all don't want justice? Y'all don't want unity? Y'all don't want progress? You just want an excuse to stay in the same damn cycle while blaming everyone else but yourselves. So nah, I'm not turning my back on black folks. I'm turning my back on the bullshit. And if that offends you, good. Maybe it's time y'all got uncomfortable. Maybe then we can actually fix the problem.
Yeah, but when people are uncomfortable and they're impulsive, it can be very, very dangerous if you look white or if you act white.
The suspect decided to escalate the situation and brandish a firearm and began pointing it at employees.
When officers showed up, they found Garrett across the street at this hotel. Investigators say he had tossed the gun in a trash can.
This firearm actually came back stolen out of Atlanta. This guy probably knew that the police were on their way and likely just discarded of it because he knew he wasn't supposed to have it.
Garrett was taken into custody, but his anger still simmered. Police say while officers were trying to adjust his handcuffs, he punched one of them.
The suspect swung at the officer, striking him, causing minor injuries.
And while in the back seat of the patrol car, he kicked out a camera. And again, police say it all started with him not being able to connect to the Wi-Fi.
If people are uncomfortable and they are impulsive, but they don't have any self-control, if you don't tackle that, why is society responsible or the white man?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, you need to move. And he's like, make me move. Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So yeah. That's just what I saw. And I tried to help him, but
it was just senseless.
It was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like that man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid. Mm-hmm. Real strong. And I know I'm strong too, but he's a little stronger. But he did a lot for our family and a bunch of stuff that we just don't recognize. And it's just like, especially throughout our friends too, like everyone knew, like he was the peacemaker. That's what I'm saying. Like, I heard someone who really makes peace, really calms peace down. He makes everything sail smoothly. And because I get upset, but then he calms me down. He was just always there for me. So it's just really heartbreaking to see like how this happened.
So this is a twin brother of the kid that got stabbed, and just because of a fight. This is like national going wild because everybody's like, nobody's talking about it, so I'm covering it. And the narrative is wild. Like, if it was a black man that got stabbed, everybody would talk about this. And on the other side, nobody is talking about this. And then Black Together again responded, what narrative is that? Why would a random crime be national news? What's special about violence amongst males? Also, we haven't seen a video. So why are you jumping to conclusion? Sounds like Austin touched him first. Why aren't you worried about white on white crimes? I will give you an example. When a white man does it, the white man who pleaded guilty to shooting a black teen who rang a wrong doorbell dies. When a black man does it, police say a 17-year-old was fatally stabbed by another student at the Texas track meet. You're obfuscating and you're gaslighting. We are just focusing on the fact that whenever a black kid dies, you mention black. Whenever a white kid dies, you don't mention it. And I'm tired of seeing this pattern at many left-leaning legacy media that usually don't mention the caller.
Would you guys say that you lean more liberal or more conservative?
Definitely more liberal.
Yeah. Okay, why liberal?
Because I'm black.
Yeah. We're gay. What do you guys think is the biggest issue that's facing Gen Z right now?
Many of us leave colleges that we pay a bunch of money for with a degree, and we can't get a job. Truth, we leave schools with spending all this money for a degree, and we can't even use them, and we're stuck in like low-income jobs.
Is college a scam?
No.
I didn't know being black and gay means you're not conservative, but hey, that's an interesting assumption.
The reason Democrats don't want voter ID is because they make it much more difficult for elderly people, people that don't travel, don't have a passport, poor people, that don't have cars, don't have driver's licenses. So it's sort of a vestige of, I think, post-slavery laws where black people had to prove their right to vote, and oftentimes they couldn't vote because they couldn't pass some crazy test or they didn't have the appropriate ID. It also affects women that are married. Maybe your passport reflects something that's different on your birth certificate or on your driver's license. So really the bottom line is voter suppression. And I agree with him 100%. It's a brilliant notion that less voter ID laws allows more people to vote. And most democracies do it that way. We're the only ones that really don't do it that way.
Right. I mean, I think it's been considered fact by most that the more people that vote, the more likely it is that Democrats have an
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it does make sense.
That's why there's gerrymandering,
right.
and that's why there's voter suppression, and that's why Republicans want this voter ID stuff.
Stop that. It makes no sense.
If I even tell somebody in any Western country, hey, should I be able to vote without an ID? They would look at me like you're dumb. Like, it's like I want to be able to fly without a passport. Like, it's all about security. Especially when you own stuff, you will start thinking about security.
Who picked cotton? Us! My skin! My ancestors! Who built the buildings? Mexicans! Who planted rice? The Asians!
Yeah. And would you ever get pegged?
Somebody wrote, I'm sorry, I don't know, but what does getting pegged mean? By just saying that, it means maybe you are a conservative, because it's actually funny.
They don't got abortion clinics at the border. They're telling us as American women, specifically black American women, we need to abort our children. But if you coming across the border with your baby, oh, come to the land of milk and honey, the great land of opportunity. We'll take care of you. Joe Biden even said, I'll give illegal immigrants coming across the border $400,000 apiece. Can you imagine if they were to go to that black single mother living in the hood? Not even $400,000. Offer $4,000. Because I know some black women that can make something jump with $4,000. Offer her $40,000.
Bye, have a great time.
You know why they'll never give us that? Because they know that we'll never need them again. Welfare reminds me of an old man I used to date. I was in a relationship with him for 11 years. He would never marry me, right? But whenever my bills were due, I would tell him he would give me just enough. He had a whole lot of money. He would give me just enough.
I think Americans should be very pissed. They were giving immigrants way more money than Americans have ever asked before. They asked for less and they still never got it. I'm like, come on, man. The fact that you don't see it and you still trust the Democratic Party, not the Democrats, the Democratic Party ways of thinking, I just find it odd you don't see the gaslighting.
Don't get me wrong, ma cosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush hash, purple skunk, criollo, colombici, jam, jam, turloqueta, verdetta, welcome.